yeah, myself, I'm fine.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that you're able to the COVID problem. Was it asymptomatic, or was it like a really bad case for you?
I think I had moderate symptoms, but I didn't go to the
Okay.
hospital because the hospitals are full. But yeah, I was able to survive it.
Okay, that's good. Good to hear. Okay, so let's get right to it. Your group Love Yourself PH is an LGBTQ support group, but specifically it caters to MSM, males who have sex with other males. So during quarantine, is there still a lot of dating going on? I mean, is that something that's happening during this pandemic? Do you have any opinions or thoughts, or maybe you have analytics, statistics about it?
Well, actually, yes. It is still happening, especially, we had, in a few months, we had cabin fever, and, we wanted to go out and, to socialize with other people. So somehow
Uh,
we were forced to, to meet other people, especially online. While
right.
they're still interacting online, there's still some instances where we meet other people, pinapapunta pa rin sa bahay, and, they still hang out. So there's still actually a lot of dating and hanging out going on, even though
Okay.
there is pandemic.
Okay. Well, I mean, in a way that keeps it helps keep people sane, right? In a way, like social interaction. I only realized during this pandemic how how important it is just to even talk to somebody. Not even just hanging out or dating in particular, but just to talk to a friend in a coffee shop and just talk about life. I mean, it must be something that in your support group, something that you've heard stories of people maybe experiencing loneliness or cabin fever. Do you have any particular stories that you have heard from your the people who follow you?
Well, yeah, especially during this time, it has caused a lot of anxiety for some people. I remember we have some friends who are, um, of course, they wanted to feel safe, so that's why they're still staying at their houses. But sometimes if we stay in our homes too much, I agree what you
Mhm.
said, JC, that we still crave for that physical interaction that we want so long. But kahit hindi pa pwede sa ngayon, there are still instances that we still need to talk to people, and that's why we're here to provide not only support but actually to guide them, especially with maintaining their sexual health and wellness, which is still important even though there is a pandemic.
Very true. Very true. So let's talk, Danvic. Let's talk about Love Yourself PH. Let's talk about the creation of the group itself. From the origins, from its origins rather. So when did this group come about, and why was it created in the first place? I mean, I mean I know now why it is, but why was it originally created in the first place?
Well, Oversource started with 6 people in 2011. Their actual goal is just to help their friends, because during that time in 2011, while we have HIV-related services that are already existing in the Philippines, it's
Mhm.
not yet specifically catered to MSMs or men who have sex with men.
Okay.
So it was a challenging time. Now we the community cannot access services that will specifically welcome them, or somehow it creates a safe space for them that they can access to and have their management of health and wellness. So it really just started with 6 people helping their friends. And what started with 6 people is right now we have 1,500 volunteers who
Wow.
are helping out to deliver services in the Philippines. And these services are actually related to health services, which includes sexual health, including HIV. And of course, we are starting to foray also into mental health, which we have a program called Flourish by Love Yourself. So this is a community-based initiative where we help the community to share their stories. So, an avenue for them to share their stories para hindi sila nag-iisa. They don't feel alone. So it's really creating a safe space for the communities, for them not only to hang out, but also to interact and to share how they take care and love themselves.
I really like how, the whole origin of Love Yourself is really yun nga, to help people really become the best versions of themselves, to love themselves for who they are, who they can, and their potential yet, or maybe they can't see how much good or love they have in within themselves. So having those services, I think, is such an honorable thing. Can you be more specific when it comes to the services? You said, some, for example, you tackled mental health. So your volunteers who help you and work with you, are they professionals in the field of mental health, for example, or for sexual health? Are that in that sense as well?
Well, technically, our volunteers are specifically trained to provide HIV related services. When I say HIV related services, this includes HIV awareness, providing testing,
Mm.
if they are HIV negative, provide them prevention initiatives on how to for them to stay negative, and also
Mhm.
that includes also treatment, care, and support for those who are HIV positive. But also for mental health, we also have peer support groups. These are also trained professionals, so that they will be able to provide a safe space for the community to share their stories, and really more of creating this, I would say, a space where they feel safe. And
Mm.
it's really a challenge to create a space where they feel safe, because it doesn't only involve training. It really involves creating a community na mawa-welcome sila. So
Right.
it's not only counseling that's involved in our organization, but also creating events and campaigns that we know would be really welcoming to them, and making them know what Love Yourself is doing, and eventually reaching them out. So it's really a group of volunteers na sharing what are your talents, what are your interests. Tapos we create this small community to help other communities. So that's what we do in Love Yourself.
And I think that having that community, having a place for people to turn to, a place where they can trust people, is the whole mentality behind that. Because Danvic, I'm sure you would agree with me. Here in the Philippines, it's kind of a strange thing for me when I see, because there's that whole conservative, very the pushback against the LGBTQ community. However, if you look on TV, if you look online, the biggest stars are part of the LGBTQ community. So there seems to be some sort of, we're like on the fence right now, I think, and I think we're moving towards the right direction of being accepting of the LGBTQ, because I think that's the way that it should go. Everyone should be equal, right? Uh, but what is the current state of the acceptance of the LGBTQ community in your opinion? How are you seeing the future of it moving forward here in the primarily conservative Philippines?
Well, of course, I see a bright future where everyone will be accepted. It's really not more of acceptance, because all of our foundation is that we are all humans, and really
Hmm.
we should not demand acceptance from someone, because we're all
True, true.
equal basically. So, but
Hmm.
the sad thing here in the Philippines, as you said, since we are in a conservative culture, there are many instances that that prohibits us to talk about things. Like, for example, we don't talk about sex. We still view it as a taboo. Or if we talk about LGBT issues, sometimes they're still frowned upon. And there are instances, like, for example, in our clients in Love Yourself, where they may be denied of health service in their localities if they are really very conservative about it. Or especially there are families who disowns their kids, especially for trans women who are actually killed because they are women. So there are still instances that people still get left behind, and we don't want that to happen. We want equality for everyone, and we are on that road to full acceptance for everyone. But are we near to that? I don't think we're near to that. We're still far away from there, but I see a bright future for us. It's really more of learning and unlearning what we know, so that we will be
Hmm.
able to accept and respect each other. It's a long way to go, but we're getting there.
Great. I love the optimism, and I think that I hope that that's the future that you envision is the one that we can live in, in the near future, hopefully. So let's talk about the HIV awareness, because that seems to be a big part of Love Yourself PH. When it comes to HIV awareness, for example, myself, I kind of grew up. I learned a little bit about it in school, but what is the what is the current state of teaching people about HIV awareness outside of Love Yourself PH? Is that something that is discussed in school, or something that parents talk to their kids about on a regular basis if it's lacking?
Well, if you say you had it in school just for a bit, you're actually very lucky. Because in
Yeah.
the Philippines, especially, in a conservative culture that we have, and we view
Mm-hmm.
sex as taboo, we don't
Mm-hmm.
discuss issues that are related to it. Like, for example, HIV awareness, sexually transmitted infections, teenage pregnancy. So these are, issues that we don't really discuss every day. And these are not actually present in schools. And these results to problems that, really plagues our country. Like, for example, just this in April 2021, we are recording 33 Filipinos per day who are diagnosed with HIV. And it's actually
Wow.
very high because um, compared to other countries, our growth rate, or the pagdami ng HIV dito sa Pilipinas, we're actually the
Mm.
highest worldwide.
Oh
So,
wow.
if we really don't discuss issues that are related to sex, that's the time that, these problems arise. I'm sure you're also familiar that teenage pregnancy, we also have the highest rates here in Asia. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is a problem that if we really don't talk about it, these problems will continue, especially with HIV, where we came to this time that HIV is not a death sentence anymore. That if you have HIV, you just continue your treatment, and basically you live a normal and healthy life. But most of the people doesn't know about this yet, so that's why we still need to echo our message across, so that people will really understand, and to really view sex as not taboo. We want that situation to happen, because if we don't view sex as taboo, we will be able to comfortably talk about the issues that are related to it, especially to our
Mm-hmm.
homes. Parents can discuss it, without judgment to their children, or in our schools where teachers can really teach about sex, without judgment to their students. We want that situation, but it's a challenge because we are in a conservative culture.
Are there campaigns that you are a part of, or that maybe Love Yourself PH is a part of, or has been a part of, that has campaigned for, yun nga, having more sex education at the the local level, or having more of these outreach programs that educate maybe the people who are maybe not as wealthy, and they don't get great information, to reach out to communities like that to teach them about HIV awareness and sex ed. Is there something that you've done in the past to
Well,
change that?
well, there are actually policy changes that will, somehow introduce comprehensive sex education, but it's still a challenge because, of course, not all teachers are, comfortable, teaching sex-related topics. Yun nga, kasi nga, we have a conservative culture. But
Mm.
what we are doing in Love Yourself is that we are creating campaigns so that we will be able to reach out the necessary knowledge that they want to know. We have this campaign which we call Safer Now PH, which is sharing combination prevention strategies, meaning the best HIV prevention that is adaptable to your lifestyle. So that's one
Yes.
campaign that we are sharing to our communities. We also conduct HIV awareness activities in schools and companies, so that we will be able to reach out to them, share what they need to know about HIV, because HIV awareness should be for everyone. It's not for a specific set of population, because if you know about HIV and necessarily yourself you are not at risk, you may guide someone who is at risk, and guide them so that they will be able to protect themselves further. So we created these campaigns and activities so that we will be able to share more messages to everyone, especially HIV awareness na hindi pa nga siya ganun kakalat dito sa Pilipinas.
Mm. Yeah, and speaking of HIV, let's talk statistics really quick. You mentioned earlier that we have one of the highest, or if not the highest rates of daily cases of HIV. Just that aside, or with that fact being known, during the pandemic, because of the lack of people, the lack of being able to move around, and has it lessened during the pandemic? Have you seen research or statistics on that?
It actually lessened. In 20 before pandemic in 2019, we are recording 35 cases per day. But data as we say is always a double-edged sword. There
Mm-hmm.
are reported cases. Uh, it's rising because the people are HIV is spreading everywhere. But one factor why it's also increasing, it's because people are getting tested and they know that they are HIV positive. Because the only way for you to know if you have HIV is for you to have an HIV test. And it actually lessened because access to HIV testing became a problem during the COVID pandemic, because they cannot go to facilities where they can have themselves tested, or there are instances where they cannot seek health services because they cannot go to hospitals, they cannot go to public health facilities. So it actually lessened because of the reporting, but not because HIV cases are going down, because they are not going down.
I understand. Okay, okay. So when it comes to HIV and common misconceptions, like you said, a lot of people think, and when they hear the term, "Oh, HIV, that's a death sentence," it's something that is a common train of thought for people who hear about it, or maybe they know someone. Oh, HIV, that's deadly. But like you said, in this day and age, it's manageable. You can live your life. You can live a normal life with living with HIV. Common misconceptions about HIV that you want to make aware for our listeners who maybe it's their first time talking about HIV in forever? I mean, I don't even remember the last time I talked about HIV, to be honest. So this is a good opportunity for the people listening in as well, to learn the facts about HIV from the experts.
Well, basically, HIV is a virus. It's just like COVID-19. These are outsiders of our body. And once it enters our body, it causes, specifically for HIV, it causes immunodeficiency. That's why HIV means human immunodeficiency virus.
Right.
Immunodeficiency meaning, it causes our immune system to weaken. And kapag our immune system is weak, mas vulnerable tayo to other diseases and other infections that can cause death. So basically, HIV doesn't cause death. Your immune system, which is not responding, that causes death if someone has HIV. And we want that na if you have HIV to fully manage it, because there's no cure yet, but there is treatment that basically what treatment does is that it lowers the number of the HIV virus in your body and makes you virally suppressed. And if you're virally suppressed or undetectable, that means two things. First, you can your immune system is healthy and you will not experience any symptoms. Mas malakas yung iyong immune system because pinapababa nung gamot yung number of HIV sa yung katawan. And the second one, it makes it untransmittable, meaning if someone has HIV, they cannot transmit it to other people sexually, meaning you cannot transmit it to other people na. So it really testifies the fact that treatment works if you have HIV. So there's really life after HIV. If the important thing is they need to maintain their treatment so that they could live a normal and happy life.
Okay, and that's something that I think a lot of people, myself included, I just knew that you could live with HIV. However, I didn't know about the treatment, so I'm really glad that I've learned that information. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are like, "Oh wow, I didn't know." I guarantee you, people listening right now, a lot of them didn't know that. So thank you for sharing that, Danvic. That's great information. I have a question though, because the term that got thrown around a lot, especially me when I was growing up, when I heard HIV, it always got associated with AIDS. And people seem to always get those two confused. They think it's the same thing. what is the actual difference between HIV and AIDS, and why are they so closely related? And why are those terms always thrown around together?
Well, it's a very good question because yeah, I get a lot of people. This seems to to get confused, but it's really to
Mhm.
HIV is actually the virus that causes immune deficiency to your body. So it's an outsider. If it enters your body, that causes immune deficiency, and that if you had that immune deficiency, that doesn't mean that you'll die agad-agad. It has
Mhm.
stages. So it's just like in cancer, there are stages 1, 2, 3, 4. So in HIV infection, it also has stages. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. AIDS is actually the last stage of HIV infection. AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. Acquired, ibig sabihin, nakuha mo siya. It's not an immaculate conception na pagising mo na lang isang umaga, ay, may HIV na ako. Di
Okay,
ba?
okay. Right.
Nakuha mo siya sa isang tao na merong HIV. And that causes immune deficiency. And the syndrome, that means that there is a collection of signs and symptoms. So ibig sabihin, hindi na lang isang symptom ang nararamdaman mo. You have a collection of signs and symptoms that are actually very much related to each other. So
Mhm.
AIDS is actually, simply put, HIV is the virus that causes immune deficiency. AIDS
Mhm.
is the condition na once HIV enters your body, nasa stage 4 ka na. So all those who have HIV doesn't necessarily that they have AIDS, but all those who have AIDS, they all have HIV because HIV causes AIDS. So that's the difference
Right.
between the two.
Well, there we go. We learned something new. I'm sure a lot of people learned something new again. Let's talk about the common misconceptions about HIV and AIDS, especially the how you can get it. How it's transferred to other people, because we always have this thing where it's transferred, especially during sex, during exchange of bodily fluid. So, can you just talk a little bit about how Love Yourself PH disseminates the information, make sure everybody knows what's going on and everyone's on the same page and knows how you can get it, how you can't get it, etc., etc.
There are actually challenges, to be honest, on how to share these information because you cannot share how to get HIV if you don't talk about sex.
Yeah.
Because, one way on how to get HIV is via sexual transmission, especially if you
Hmm.
are having unprotected penetrative sex, meaning you engage into sexual activities so you don't have the necessary protection. So that's one
Okay.
thing. But there are two other ways on how to transfer HIV, on how to transmit HIV. The other one is blood and blood products. If they are sharing,
Needles.
contaminated needles, yes, or a blood that's actually donated, but it's not screened if they have infections that's present on the blood. So that's one way to transmit HIV. The other way is also mother to child transmission. So if
Mm.
the mother has HIV, it can be passed to the baby through childbirth, pregnancy, and giving breast milk. So those are actually just the three ways on how to pass HIV. So that's blood and blood products, mother to child transmission, unprotected penetrative sex. Aside from the three, you cannot get HIV. So you cannot get
Mm.
HIV from kissing, hugging, sharing utensils, and sharing toilet seats, or swimming together, and
Mm.
even mosquitoes. Yeah, these are misconceptions that are actually exists everywhere, and if you do if you do not doing those three modes that I spoke earlier, you're actually safe from HIV. But we know some people who are actually engaged in those in those three modes of transmission. So that's why we need to share this messaging across to everyone. And especially here in the Philippines, na we view sex as taboo. We don't know how to protect ourselves. We don't know how to how to do protected sex because we are not talking about sex. So it is a
Mm.
challenge, but we create campaigns and messages online and offline so that we will be able to get this across.
And it's great that the monster here, we're open to talking about this. We're at least we can talk about. I'm out. We're all good talking about it here. Let's talk about safe sex then, Danvic. What constitutes safe sex? I mean, is there like a this is safe, this is not safe, do this, don't do this? Let's talk a little bit about it. Your thoughts on
Well,
or your what you care to share.
Well, the concept of having a safer sex, because there's no such thing as complete safe sex. Because if you have sex and you still, fall off your bed, mamuntog ka bigla, that's not safe anymore. But what we aim to do is to have that sex that is relatively safer so that you won't get possible infections. Not only
Mm.
HIV, but other sexually transmitted infections, because HIV is just one of them. Napakaraming infections that you can get through sex, because in nature, sex is very dirty, literally and figuratively. Diba? So, that's why we need to have methods that would be really perfect for your lifestyle. And what we call in Love Yourself, this is what we call a combination prevention approach, meaning
Okay.
you engage into safer sex behavior. You are using preventive ways for you to prevent the transmission of HIV and STIs, and that concept works for you, for your lifestyle. Because there are prevention methods na patok sa isang tao, pero hindi siya patok sa iba. Like for example, the use of condoms and lubricants. That's the one familiar way that we know how for us to engage into safer sex, if we use condoms and lubricants. Water-based lubricants, not petroleum
Not
jelly, baby oil. Yeah, it should be water-based, because condoms are made of latex rubber. And,
yeah.
for some people, they don't want to use condoms because for them it decreases pleasure, or they're allergic to condoms. That's why we
Sensitivity.
offer other options for them to protect themselves. So that's why we offer other options, like for example, PrEP, or pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's actually a pill that you can take before sex so that you will be protected against HIV. And it
Oh,
gives maximum protection by up to 99%. It's not a vaccine, but it's really more of a drug that really protects you from HIV. So that's one way that you could also use para mas safe ka. So there are
okay.
actually many ways for you, to have that safer sex concept, na that approach na ginagamit mo is more perfect for your lifestyle.
Is that drug an over-the-counter thing that anyone can get, or do you need a prescription for that the drug that you just mentioned?
Well, so far it's not available in pharmacies, because this is a prescribed drug. You cannot just buy it
Okay.
over the counter, and you can access that. And there are very
Right.
few facilities who are offering it now. We are on the road to offer it to not only to government facilities, but many community-based organizations in the Philippines. But in Love Yourself, if they want to access PrEP, they can go to bit.ly/PrEP Filipinas. So that's a website where you can access to, so that you'll be able to get PrEP. For you to get PrEP, there needs to be some testing involved and a consultation with the doctor, because as I mentioned, PrEP are prescribed drugs. So kailangan ng prescription ng doctor. You cannot just get it. You cannot just go to a counter and, can I buy PrEP? Hindi ka po bibigyan.
Okay. All right. Good to know. And Love Yourself PH. You primarily focus. Well, you focus on loving yourself, but also it's also it focuses highly on the MSM community. So besides safe sex, Danvic, what are the other chief concerns or maybe problems faced by the MSM community, specifically during this time?
Well, what we believe in Love Yourself is we believe in a dare, care, share concept. This concept, provide us our direction on why we are doing these activities. Dare, care, share means, first, of course, if you dare to know yourself, you can take care of yourself better, because you have, basta kilala mo sarili mo. And if you know how to take care of yourself better, you want to share this concept to other people, as for them to, to protect themselves further, take care of themselves further, and to love themselves further. So with this concept, yung first thing pa lang, for them to dare to know themselves better, that's actually a challenge. Ako personally, I was not this confident before to discuss about HIV, because I am not an expert even din dati. I remember before, when I had some scare kung meron nga ba akong HIV or wala. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to take care of myself further. So it's really a challenge, especially for MSMs like me, on where to access these services. Sino yung pwede kong kausapin without judgment? Sino yung pwede kong maging kaibigan na I can hang out with? So there are really challenges aside from HIV that causes people to na mas hindi nila makilala yung sarili nila. And if you don't know yourself better, hindi mo alam kung paano mo masaalagaan yung sarili mo. And this can result to other problems. Like for example, for MSM, sometimes we constantly search for validation because we constantly search for that person or people who want to accept us. And the trade-off of that sometimes is you get into unprotected sex because you don't know how to take care of yourself. So there are many challenges that revolves around our community. Na that's why what we are doing is we provide an avenue for them to really to take care of themselves further para ma-share nila sa ibang tao, ma-share nila sa kanilang peers. It's a challenge, but this is a challenge that we are willing to do every day.
A challenge worth taking, right? A challenge
yes,
worth taking. And you currently have a campaign called You Matter, Pride Starts With You. And then of course the letter U is stylized as, or the word U is stylized as the letter U. Can you tell us more about that campaign during this Pride Month that you're currently?
Well, we stylized it as you because we wanted to connect it to the U equals you messaging. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina na undetectable equals to untransmittable. So if you have HIV, it's not the end of the world. If you're undetectable, you cannot transmit it. It's untransmittable. You cannot pass it to other people. So it's a campaign that we want to connect to not only those who have HIV, but also to everyone that, we want to make to everyone to understand that for you to know yourself better, you have to dare to know yourself, and you have to understand that you matter, and we need to create spaces that that make us feel valid and loved, and we want to share that concept of safe space not only to ourselves but to the entire community. And if we create safe spaces not only to ourselves but to our friends, and it really resonates. So we wanted to create a ripple of positive change to the community, and we want to highlight this campaign not only for those who are who are living with HIV, but also to everyone that if you maintain healthy habits, you can share it to other people, as for them to means for them to have pride and joy that they can share to other people as well. So that's the purpose of this campaign. It's really more of not only connecting that you need to take care of your sexual health and wellness, but also to really to love yourself further, so that you could share it to other people and share to them that you can also love yourself.
Yeah, I just want to give big praise to the U to you, and that's really easy to remember. Undetectable means untransmittable. That's great. I mean, it's something that I think that a lot of people, it's gonna stick in a lot of people's minds whenever they hear that now. Like U to you, that's really clever. I just wanted to say that was really nice. Speaking of campaigns during the pandemic, Danvic, it must be very difficult to even reach out to people in person. So how has Love Yourself PH been conducting your awareness campaigns online in the digital sphere? How's it going? Like what is your setup now?
Well, siguro we're very lucky in Love Yourself that even before the pandemic, our approach is really to go online, meaning to share campaigns online, to use to partner with ambassadors. Like for example, we have the two Miss Universes in our arsenal. We have Catriona Gray and Pia Wurtzbach, that share information regarding about HIV to their influence. We are so lucky that we have our spaces online to promote our services. So we didn't have that adjustment. However, during the pandemic, because we had limited mobility, we weren't able to tell our clients to come here to our centers, because we don't want them to go out, diba? As much as possible, stay at home, diba? So what we are doing is we offered our services online. Like we have online way for you to have your HIV test. We have what we call self-care, so that you could access your self-testing at home. We also have, if you need to go to a community center, we promote our services online. You need to set up an appointment para, we still maintain social distancing in our clinics. So we have multiple ways to promote our services online, especially for those who have HIV, because if you have HIV, it's really vital for you to take your treatment every day for the rest of your life. That's very vital. And if you stop it, there's a chance na yung HIV sa loob ng katawan mo will not respond to medication anymore. So it's like, not taking your antibiotics during your prescribed time. But the difference
Right.
with antiretroviral medication is you need to take it sa ngayon every day for the rest of your life. So vital access to these medicines are, essential. So that what we did is we also introduced services like Express by Love Yourself, so that we deliver these medications to our clients. Na kahit safe sila sa kanilang bahay, they'll be able to access their medication, while being safer from COVID-19. So, we had adjustments, but, we're so lucky that we are already existing in the online space. So we had a bit of innovations na, just for us to continue the services that we are offering.
And I want to tell you like how much I'm learning this evening during this interview. I didn't know that you could actually there's a testing kit that you can do at home for. I didn't know that was. I thought you'd have to go to a hospital to get it done. That's something new that I learned. So see, like what you're doing online and help, you're really informing a lot of people, the uninformed like myself. So I think that's really great. And since we're on the topic of the digital world, the online sphere, social media, Danvic, is a two-edged sword. It can be very, very good, informative. It can disseminate, great information. However, there's also the dark side of social media, and I think I'm sure you would agree with me. What is how do we take away the negativity that comes on social media? I'm sure that you've seen the worst side of it. Through just in general, like I think we all have. But how do you deal with that, and how do you suggest people deal with the negativity online?
Well, it's not only negativity, but also accuracy of the information that you're getting. Because I remember before there were viral content of, meron daw HIV dito sa orange na ito, or this ketchup has HIV. These trending contents, really spreads misinformation. Diba? So it's really vital for us to create information campaigns that are accurate para makarating sa community what they really need to know about HIV. But again, as you said also, JC, it's really more of positivity as well. We are also sharing campaigns that that will somehow understand who you are, and make you feel that you are important and you are valid. Because especially the dark side of social media, it's actually a marketing tool. Meaning, sometimes what we paste on what we put online is actually our good side, and we really don't post our bad side or our imperfections online.
Right.
And we have campaigns that we call, like, for example, every Monday we have I Am Worthy campaigns that posts messages that will make us understand that whatever whoever you are, whatever your vulnerability or whatever your imperfection is, you are valid and you are loved. And that really having that sense of campaign is actually one step for you to dare to know yourself better. So we really need to push for these campaigns, so that despite of the negativity that we see online, there is still positivity for us that we can that can influence us, not only to create better decisions, but also for us to to know and understand ourselves better, and to understand that we matter. And if we have this concept of us loving ourselves, we can share it to other people. So that's the thing that we wanted to go viral.
Yeah. And I think when you talk about accepting and understanding the LGBT community, well, actually just understanding them in general, for someone who's not part of that community, sometimes they can make, especially online, they can make inadvertently maybe comments or statements, or even maybe posting something that seems like it's in support of the LGBTQ community, but sometimes it could have a negative effect, or maybe something, it's not really doing the best thing for the LGBTQ community. For example, during this Pride Month, I've seen a lot of pushback against people who are maybe they deem themselves, let's say, quote unquote, allies. We can talk about the definition of that term later, but sometimes people are saying like parang nakikisakay lang. They're just doing it because it's Pride Month. I mean, how do you, someone who's not part of the LGBTQ community, how can they be better allies online and of course in person? But right now, since we're all mostly at home, how can you be a part of and an ally to the community without overstepping or taking, overstepping any boundaries?
I think for you to be a real ally is for you to
Mm.
understand, and to understand all the struggles that is happening, or that the LGBTQA plus community is experiencing, so that we will be able to understand them better. It's a challenge for some people, especially if hindi ito yung nakasanayan nila, or this is not the culture that they were exposed to. But listening to their stories, that starts somewhere. That makes you understand them better, not make assumptions, and listening to their genuine concerns, because the struggles that has been felt by the LGBT community for so long, it is still not it's still not parang the benefits. We don't have parang, if you are an LGBT, if you're a member of LGBT, sometimes we have to fight for our rights for us to experience it. And for people who are not member of it, you don't have to fight for your rights. Diba? So because it's already there, it's already existing to you. You already have an enabling environment for you na accepted ka ng community. For us, we don't have that enabling environment. Listening to our stories makes us, makes them understand us better. And, aside from understanding us better, mas malalaman natin kung ano yung struggles nila, what we are fighting for, and that's makes us, makes you a true ally for us to support our causes, to support our road of providing an enabling environment for everyone to be who they are. And also, if we listen to multiple stories of multiple people, that's also works for us, because the story of one person doesn't actually apply to other people. Like, for example, a story of a gay person doesn't apply somehow to someone who is a transgender man or transgender woman. So, understanding and listening to each and everyone's stories will provide you a deeper understanding of who they are, a deeper understanding of what they are fighting for, and to contribute to that understanding, so that everyone will understand what we are fighting for, who we are, and why we are doing this. And, it's really the foundation of us being human. Now, we really don't want to be accepted. We want an environment for us na tayo ay pantay-pantay.
I love it. I love it. To all the monsters listening out there, as Danvic said, listen so that you can understand. And I think that's the greatest takeaway that we can have this evening. Danvic, we've come towards the close of the episode, but thank you so much for joining us this evening. And what is Love Yourself PH working on besides the campaign that you already have running? What is in the immediate future for Love Yourself PH, or just maybe you have anything that you want to plug online and on air? Anything that's going to be running for the next few months that you want to share with us?
Well, we have upcoming campaigns that will promote more on how to prevent HIV. Like, for example, we have our upcoming National HIV Prevention Month, which is actually around next month. It extends to August, so that we will be able to, to have that, for you to know that option, kung ano yung mas adaptable to your lifestyle, for you to prevent HIV. And also we have an upcoming concert organized by our volunteers based in Cebu, which we call Lollipop 2. This would be on June 26th. They can follow us on our Love Yourself pages in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Not for us, not only for you to know what we do in Love Yourself, but also how can you access our services, and also how can you, share messages na, will really make you feel that you matter, and share messages that we need to understand and love ourselves better so that we can share it to other people. So just follow us on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just find us, Love Yourself PH, and all of our events and campaigns will also be posted there.
Nice. And a message to everyone listening, just in general, not necessarily about Love Yourself PH, but something that you want to share with our listeners, maybe especially since it's Pride Month. What do you want to tell everyone out there listening right now?
Well, I think what I want to share to everyone is that, we know already the lesson that, we need to love ourselves better so that we will be able to share it to other people as means of multiplying joy and happiness. But for some people, it may take some time, and that's okay. Especially for those who cannot come out because of certain circumstances, you don't have that enabling environment for you to come out. It's okay. But what we know is that I think as not only for a member of the LGBTQA plus community, but also to everyone who is an ally, it's really important for us to understand each other's stories, so that we will be able to understand each one better. So I think, it's really more of accepting ourselves better so that we will be able to accept other people better as well. And happy Pride!
Hey, Pride. Danvic, thank you so much for joining us. And I know you have friends and family probably listening. Do you want to shout out anyone on air?
Wala naman. I think siguro tulog na sila. But I want to shout out to all of my friends and my co-volunteers in Love Yourself. You are doing a great job, especially during this time na, during this pandemic na you're still providing help to the community. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Danvic. And, like he said, please listen to understand. And thank you to everyone who listened tonight. I hope you learned a lot. I did. I'm sure I know I did. To all the monsters, check us out again next week for more hot conversations here on Heard on Thursdays. My name is JC Tevez. Have a wonderful evening and keep it locked in here, always on The Monster. Good night, everyone. Heard on. All right. Thank you, Danvic.
Thank you, JC.
I'm trying to end the broadcast, but it's not working. Wait lang. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I learned a lot. Here's Rafi. He wants to say hello.
Hi, thank you very much, Diego and Danvic. Yeah, great show.
I really learned a lot. Really, I think that was really informative. So I'm really happy that we did that.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, we'll tap you for future episodes of for AIDS awareness and other related topics. We will keep you in mind if that's all right.
Yes,
wala
we
pong
love
problema.
that.
Wala pong problema.
And hopefully in the future, live na in the booth. When everything's vaccinated. And
Mas masaya yun.
Para ma-meet na rin kita, JC.
nice. Ang weird ng online, no? Everything it's so weird to conduct just interviews and hostings and stuff online. It's nice, but it feels like it's so, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel real at the same time. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's very alienating. It's very distancing if you do it all the time.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. That was really informative. Nice to meet you also too, Diego. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Apparently, we're still on the broadcast. Hindi ko ma-end eh. So we just want to say good night to everyone.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.